Summer's here, and Nordstrom has everything you need for your best dress season ever. From beach days and weddings to weekend getaways and your everyday wardrobe. Discover stylish options under $100 from tons of your favorite brands like Mango, Skims, Princess Polly, and Madewell. It's easy too with free shipping and free returns, in-store order pickup, and more. Shop today in stores, online at Nordstrom.com, or download the Nordstrom app.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily. How long should I wait for chemistry to develop? By Marc Katz of evanmarckatz.com. Dear Evan, I have read through over 40 pages of archives from your blog, and I can't find the answer to this one. I've been dating a guy for a month. He really likes me a lot and has been clear about that. And he's great. Cute, smart, successful, shares my religion and interests. We both value family a lot. And he's treating me like gold. Doing everything you say a boyfriend should. Texting and calling when he says he will, wanting to see me. He even texts when he's running late. From what I'm reading on your blog, I'm supposed to be happy with this guy. You want me to realize how great he is. But I feel like I should look forward to seeing him more. I just feel so blah about the whole thing. Like the idea of him is better than the actual person. But he has all these great qualities. I should point out that I'm young, 25, and attractive. I just feel like everything in your blog tells me to keep seeing this guy. But where's the line? Because part of me wants to give it time knowing that he's a good one, and part of me says if all I can say in this email is that he's great, but I can't talk about how I actually feel about him, then what's the point? TJ. Dear TJ, thanks for the important question and for giving me a platform to clear up some misconceptions about what I teach. For those of you who are new to this blog, one of my pet topics is the concept that chemistry is all too often an illusion. Of course, it's still a wonderful feeling, but life experience and science have taught us a few things about chemistry. 1. Chemistry is temporary. Usually, chemistry lasts from 1.5 to 3 years before it wears off. Soon, the person who was the 9 becomes a 6. At this point, many women become disillusioned with their partners, even though all it means is that you're finally seeing him clearly. And 2, chemistry is dangerous. When you're under the influence of chemistry, you are under the influence of hormones that act like narcotics. You can't eat, you can't sleep, high highs, low lows, the feeling of obsessive longing. It's all quite unhealthy. And what most of us have discovered is that because of the intensity of these feelings, you may completely end up ignoring your partner's bad qualities. Chemistry allows us to sweep under the rug the fact that he's selfish or that she's crazy, and later justify this behavior and fight to stay in broken relationships that make us unhappy. This is why I have long advocated putting compatibility up on the same pedestal as chemistry, and perhaps elevate it even higher. Simply put, a relationship with 7 chemistry and 10 compatibility is a happy marriage. A relationship with 10 chemistry and 3 compatibility is going to make you miserable. Now, where readers have twisted my words, annoyingly, repeatedly, is by suggesting that I have somehow told you to give up on chemistry. Feel free to comb through 1,000 blog posts and 141,000 comments over 15 years. I've never said this, or even suggested it. Never. Yet somehow, many readers seem to struggle with the concept of a nuanced world, instead of a black and white one where a man is either your instant soulmate or a complete turnoff. Which brings us back to TJ, our original poster. You've got a guy who seems like a great guy and is doing everything right on paper. You think my advice is telling you to keep him when you don't want to keep him. Not true. You need to have personal chemistry and be compatible partners. You need to fundamentally enjoy being together. You need to feel like you can relax around him and be your best self. You need to start asking the question, how compatible are we? Because if you're merely tolerating him rather than enjoying him, you're wasting both his time and your time. Dump him and move on. Similarly, if there's no physical chemistry, meaning anything less than a 5 or a 6 in that department, cut him loose. You shouldn't need to get drunk to kiss him. You shouldn't force yourself into believing that he's cute because he's nice. You need to have some spark to start, and that spark usually grows over time after you've come to love the guy. So, those are 2 reasons, lack of a basic personal and physical chemistry, that you should break up with a perfectly nice person. Yet, there's one big reason to keep a guy who you're not obsessed with. Your expectations of chemistry are way off. In other words, you can have an amazing marriage to a man even if you don't obsess about him, miss him mournfully while he's gone for a few hours, or be positive that he's your soulmate. That stuff means nothing if you're not compatible partners. It wears off. It's distracting. Here's a relevant story. I was with my wife for nearly 2 years when we got married. If she sadly left me at the altar, I'd be devastated. But I would have recovered. After all, I saw her 3 times a week. We didn't live together. I'd survived happily for 36 years without her. I would have been able to put things back together in due time. 4 years and 2 kids later, my love for my wife is so much deeper and meaningful. Frankly, I have trouble surviving a few days without her. I'd be 100% lost if she were to leave. And this is love. That passion that most couples feel for the first 18 months, it's closer to obsession and hope and fantasy. Reality is when the passion fades and you start building a life together. So, what do you do, TJ? Since you seem pretty ambivalent about him and you're pretty young, it seems to me you have your answer. It's far better to be single than to be in a dissatisfying relationship. Still, that goes for someone at any age. My 62-year-old mom married a man who was kind and generous to the core, but she wasn't attracted to him. She didn't respect him and didn't laugh with him. She married him just because he was a good person. The marriage lasted less than 2 years. As much as I stress comfort, some marriages should never happen at all. I hope this clarifies, for all of you, what you should and should not experience with a romantic partner. A basic level of personal and physical chemistry, a realistic view on that person's strengths and weaknesses, and a belief that although you've had more wild physical attraction to other people before, you've never had a better relationship in your entire life. That's why you lock it in. That's what I did. I only hope that you can experience this feeling as well. But it starts with finding someone whose company you really enjoy, not someone whose company you merely tolerate. You just listened to the post titled, "How Long Should I Wait for Chemistry to Develop?" by Marc Katz of evanmarckatz.com.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
And thanks a lot to Evan for this post. Definitely a lot of pieces worth considering in this one. And one question that I kept coming back to while reading this was, are we successfully differentiating between chemistry and compatibility? And I ask this because I highly doubt that many of us have really sat down and thought about how these words are different. Of course they're related. And because of that, it might be easy to forget that just because we can laugh a lot with someone or converse easily, it doesn't mean that we share lifestyles that work together. Or perhaps more importantly, it doesn't mean that we resolve conflict well together or can truly support one another when necessary. These larger ideas feed into compatibility, and they go way far beyond chemistry, which is more a reflection of how easy things are when the circumstances aren't so dire. As Evan says, chemistry is important, but alone, it's not worth building a relationship upon. Okay, everyone. And that's going to wrap us up for today as we put another episode in the books. Thanks so very much for coming and spending some of your weekend with us. Have an amazing rest of your Saturday, and I will be back here with you tomorrow for a regular post and for a bonus episode too. That's where your optimal life awaits.